What truly shakes people isn't your anger, it's your silence. Because silence means you've stopped explaining, you've stopped chasing, you've stopped trying to prove your worth to people who never really saw it. Your silence says, I finally remember who I am. It's not pride, it's not revenge. It's awareness, a deep knowing that you don't need to fight for what's already yours, your peace. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And that's what silence really is, power. The quiet kind that doesn't need to shout to be understood. The kind that says, I'm calm, not because nothing can hurt me, but because I choose not to let everything reach me. When you stop reacting, you begin to see clearly. You start noticing how much noise people create when they feel they're losing control. You start seeing how easily others depend on your reactions to feel powerful. And when you stop giving them that reaction, they lose it. Because your silence takes away their control. That's why silence isn't weakness, it's strength disguised as stillness. It's the calm of someone who's learned that not every opinion deserves a response. It's the strength of someone who knows their peace is worth more than being right. When you're silent, you're no longer pulled by emotions. You're guided by clarity. You start to understand that your reaction is their reward, and withholding it is your power. You stop being the puppet, and you become the master. You stop being dragged into battles that don't build you. You stop speaking to prove, and start choosing when to speak with purpose. Silence is not about ignoring others. It's about protecting your energy, your focus, your growth. It's choosing to say nothing when noise would only steal your peace. So before we go deeper, take this moment, breathe, and remind yourself, my silence is strength. My peace is power. Because starting today, you don't need to raise your voice to prove your worth. Your stillness will speak for you. And in a world addicted to noise, your silence will echo the loudest. 1. Silence shows self-control. When you stay quiet instead of reacting, you're sending a message that speaks louder than words. I choose peace over drama, strength over noise. Most people don't actually want to understand you. They just want a reaction. They want your energy, your emotion, your time, because that's how they feel important. Every angry word you give them is fuel. Every explanation is proof that they still have power over your emotions. That's how manipulators survive, not on truth, but on your attention. They thrive on pulling your strings, watching you respond, watching you lose control. But when you go silent, you cut those strings. You pull the plug. You stop playing the game. And when there's no reaction, there's no control. Your silence takes back the power they thought they owned. That isn't weakness. It's not coldness. It's discipline. It's emotional maturity, the kind the Stoics called mastery of the self. Epictetus once said, "No person is free until they master their emotions." And that kind of mastery doesn't happen in noise. It happens in stillness. It happens in that tiny pause before you react. The pause where you ask yourself, is this worth my peace? When you choose calm over chaos, that's when true control begins. Because power isn't found in shouting louder. It's found in the space where you could explode, but don't. Each time you stay calm when others expect you to break, you rise higher above their reach, above their noise. You show them that your peace can't be purchased with provocation. You show them that your silence is not surrender, it's sovereignty. And that's real control. Not in winning arguments, not in proving your point, but in choosing what's worthy of your voice and what's not. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. 2. Silence exposes truth. When you go silent, something powerful begins to happen. You start to see people for who they truly are. Because silence is a mirror. It reflects what words once hid. It shows you who genuinely values you and who only valued the control they had over you. The ones who truly care will feel your silence, but they won't fear it. They'll give you space. They'll understand your need for peace. They'll check in softly, not to pull you back into chaos, but to make sure you're okay. But the others, the ones who fed off your emotions, who needed your reaction to feel relevant, they'll panic. They'll call you cold. They'll say you've changed. They'll try to provoke you, posting, gossiping, throwing bait just to get a rise out of you, because to the ego, silence feels like rejection. It feels like losing control. And people who can't control you will try to label you. But here's the truth. That's no longer your concern. You've stopped feeding the fire that kept their drama alive. And without your reaction, their flames go out. Seneca once said, "Fire tests gold, and adversity tests the brave." Silence is that fire. It doesn't burn you, it refines you. It melts away the false, the selfish, the ones who only stayed because they could feed on your energy. Let them talk. Let them twist the story to make themselves feel better. Your peace is your evidence. Your calm is your proof. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to argue or explain. Silence will do that for you. Because when your words disappear, their true character appears. You start to see who respects your boundaries and who only respected your reactions. And when the noise fades, what remains are the real ones. The people who love you for your presence, not your performance. So stay silent. Stay grounded. Let time reveal what noise tried to hide, because silence never lies. It only exposes truth. 3. Silence turns pain into power. Most people break when they're hurt. They shout, they argue, they try to prove they didn't deserve the pain. They think loudness will make the pain smaller, but not you. You pause. You breathe. You let the storm pass inside you before you speak. That pause, that still moment between emotion and reaction, that's where your power lives. Because that's the space where strength is built. Pain wants chaos. It wants to drag you into noise. It whispers, "React now. Show them how much it hurt." But when you stay silent, you starve that voice. You take away its control. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. It's mastery, the kind few ever learn. Because anyone can explode, but it takes real power to stay calm while your heart is on fire. It takes courage to feel everything, the anger, the betrayal, the heartbreak, and still whisper to yourself, "I choose peace." When someone lies about you, when they insult you, when they betray your trust and wait for your reaction, your silence becomes your armor. You're not ignoring them, you're protecting yourself. You're saying, "I see what you're doing, but I won't join your chaos." The Stoics taught that reacting to fools makes you one of them. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike the one who wronged you." And that's the truth. You win not by shouting louder, but by walking away untouched. Not by explaining your side, but by guarding your peace. Every time you stay calm, when someone tries to pull you down, you rise higher. You show them they can't buy your reaction anymore. You show them your emotions serve you, not the other way around. So let them talk. Let them create noise. Let them wonder what you're thinking. Let them feel the silence they created. Because silence doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're healing. It means you've turned pain into patience, wounds into wisdom, and noise into power. That's how real warriors fight, quietly, peacefully, with absolute control. Because the loudest strength is the one that doesn't need to prove itself. 4. Silence creates respect. When you stop chasing, everything changes. You shift the balance. Because silence Silence makes people feel your absence, and your absence speaks louder than anything you could ever say. At first, they might not notice. They'll think you're just being quiet. But then it hits them. The space you once filled with your kindness, your calm energy, your steady presence, it's gone. And suddenly, they start to remember. They remember the peace you brought into rooms. They remember how your voice made tension disappear. They remember the stability you offered when everything around them was chaos. And in that quiet, they realize they took it all for granted. See, when you no longer fight for attention, people start to notice the silence you leave behind. They start to see that your presence was never ordinary. It was grounding. It was balance. It was peace disguised as a person. Epictetus said it best. If someone speaks badly of you, live in such a way that no one believes them. You don't need to defend yourself anymore. You don't need to argue, prove, or explain. Because your consistency speaks louder than their gossip. Your calm becomes your testimony. Your peace becomes your reputation. Words can be twisted, but silence is pure. It cannot be misquoted. It cannot be edited. It just is. When you stop responding to disrespect, you teach people that your energy is sacred. You show them that not everyone deserves access to you. You don't have to scream boundaries, you become the boundary. Your silence turns into a wall of dignity. It says, "I've said enough. I'm done explaining. You'll have to feel my absence to understand my worth." Because sometimes the lesson isn't in your words, it's in your withdrawal. So stop chasing validation. Stop running after people to prove who you are. Because real respect doesn't come from defending your name. It comes from living in a way that makes defense unnecessary. Let your silence do the talking. Because when words demand attention, silence commands it. And when your voice rests, your presence begins to roar. 5. Silence builds mystery and attraction. When you stop oversharing, when you stop updating everyone about your every move, when you stop trying to prove anything to anyone, something shifts. You instantly become unpredictable. And people can't control what they can't predict. That's what makes silence magnetic. Because mystery pulls stronger than noise ever could. They start to wonder, what's going on with you? Why aren't you saying anything? Why aren't you reacting like before? Their minds start filling in the blanks you've left empty. And that curiosity, that uncertainty, becomes your quiet advantage. The world today is full of noise. Everyone's talking, posting, explaining, competing for attention. But you've learned the value of being unseen, unheard, and yet deeply felt. You move in silence, and that silence becomes your mystery. You're no longer an open book anyone can skim through whenever they're bored. You've become a story that unfolds on your terms, a slow, quiet story that no one else can narrate or skip ahead to read. That's what makes people pay attention. Not because you're trying to impress them, but because your stillness forces them to look closer. They start leaning in, trying to read your silence, trying to understand what your calm really means. Silence doesn't mean distance. It's not pride. It's not arrogance. It's presence. It's saying, I'm here, but I don't need to prove that I am. Your silence says, I'm focused. I'm healing. I'm growing in ways you can't see yet. And that's why silence attracts. Because confidence that doesn't speak still gets heard. The kind of person who doesn't chase attention automatically draws it. People sense that you're different. They can't figure you out, and that's exactly why they can't stop thinking about you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." When you stop seeking reactions, when you stop giving updates just to feel seen, you take your control back. You become centered, grounded, mysterious. You're no longer waiting to be noticed. You've already noticed yourself. you've already found peace within. And nothing, absolutely nothing, is more attractive than a person who no longer chases attention, because they've learned that stillness is the loudest kind of confidence. 6. Silence means you've outgrown the noise. The old you needed to explain. The new you just smiles. Because now you know that peace isn't found in control. It's found in letting go. You've stopped chasing to be understood by people who were never listening. You've stopped trying to fix those who find comfort in their chaos. You no longer trade your calm for someone else's storm. That kind of growth doesn't make noise, it moves in silence. You walk away now, not to win, not to prove a point, but because you finally understand your silence is the point. That quiet walk away says everything words never could. It says, I've outgrown this. It says, I choose peace over proving. It says, I choose direction over drama. You've learned that not everything needs closure. Some things just need distance. And that's when people start to notice. They'll wonder why their words no longer shake you, why their noise no longer reaches you, why their chaos no longer finds a home in your peace. And that's when it dawns on them. You never needed them. They needed your energy. They needed your reactions. They needed your attention to feel important. When you stop giving it, the illusion shatters. They're left alone with their own noise, the noise you used to quiet. But you feel lighter, you breathe easier, because peace doesn't come from being understood. It comes from understanding yourself. That's what real growth feels like. Not loud, not dramatic, just calm, steady, and free. You've outgrown the noise, and now your silence speaks louder than ever before. It speaks success. It speaks strength. It speaks self-respect. And in that stillness, you finally realize you don't have to shout to prove you've changed. Your peace already says it for you. Remember this. Silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. It holds truth, healing, and understanding. All the things noise can never give you. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you're proving something powerful to yourself. You're growing. You're not reacting from pain anymore. You're responding from wisdom. You've learned that not everything deserves a reaction, and not everyone deserves a response. Your silence says, I'm not fighting for attention. I'm protecting my peace. I'm not reacting. I'm rising. I'm no longer moved by noise. I move with purpose. That's what evolution looks like: quiet, steady, strong. Because silence isn't the absence of power, it's the transformation of it. It's what happens when your mind no longer needs validation to feel valuable. It's the sacred space between who you were and who you're becoming. So, when someone tries to pull you back into old arguments, when they try to provoke the old version of you, just smile and stay silent, because not every battle deserves your voice. Some are won simply by walking away. And when you walk away in peace, that silence speaks for you. It says, I've grown past this. It says, my peace is more important than proving a point. It says, I'm done fighting for what drains me. Now, take a slow breath. Feel how calm feels heavier than anger. Feel how silence feels stronger than shouting. Because your silence doesn't mean surrender. It means self-mastery. It means you've found a strength that doesn't need to scream to be felt. So, take this moment and type it in the comments below. I am calm. I am focused. I am free. And as you move forward, remember this. Your silence doesn't show weakness. It shows growth. It shows wisdom. It shows power. It shows peace. And when the world grows loud again, you'll stay unshakable, because your silence has already spoken louder than any noise ever could.